What's up, everybody? This is Terminator Juice, and welcome to the Juice is Loose number 30. This one doesn't really have a topic. We got kind of some various topics to discuss. I didn't really want to settle on one, so just said open discussion, and we'll do a Q&A at the end. And I got mixing up the guests a little bit. I'm gonna each week maybe have a couple new guests, see how that works, just to kind of keep it fresh here. So without any further ado, guests, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
What's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? I'm your Canadian boy, BearHugger29. Thank you there, Terminator Juice, for having me back on yet another epic episode. Glad to be here, man.
Cool.
Hey everybody, it's Jay from the Game Cafe. Glad to be here.
Hi guys, Coupon Strides here, your gaming diva. Thanks for having me on board.
Hey fools, it's Mr. T of the Mr. T Show, the fearless nerd. Glad to be back.
You got that buff paste on the ready?
Got it on back order.
Sold out, just like Amiibos. All right, so before we get into the topics, I just want to make an announcement about the Mario Kart 8 tournament. The Juice is Loose, which is what this podcast is named after. Took a kind of break the last 3 weeks with the holidays and stuff, and we're going to get back into it, see how it goes. I'm switching it to Thursday nights because of some scheduling issues with the show I won't mention because some people don't like it, some people do. So yeah, Thursday nights, and I went to set that up today, and I put the start date on Thursday, and I forgot to change the end day, so that's on, right now it's active because it's Thursday to Wednesday right now, so I won't be able to actually officially change it, make it right until Wednesday night or Thursday afternoon. So anyway, it's going to be Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be 16 races again, and we'll mix it up with mirrored mode and regular mode. And yeah, so hopefully we'll see some better attendance now that the holidays are past. And I just raced with Red Knight a little bit ago, and there was really no one online at first on Worldwide. I couldn't even find anybody, so eventually we had a full lobby. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the attendance is, and we'll decide. I'll decide if I'm going to keep going. It's kind of definitely tapered off since Smash has come out and all that, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, New Year's Eve I just wanted to mention Bear Hugger had kind of hosted a private thing off air. We had a big group chat going on Google. Had a blast. We were playing Smash Brothers, and my mic wasn't working, so I couldn't really contribute, but I was listening to you guys and just having a blast. So I just wanted to thank Bear Hugger for kind of putting that together, and it was a good time.
You're more than welcome.
And I believe I was in a lobby with Coupon, T, and Bear Hugger. I was Pac-Man. I'm pretty sure I got 7 KOs in that one match, so I just want to throw that out there. That was the first time I've ever gotten more than like 3. So.
Well, there's another one coming up on Friday, so.
All right.
And, I hope that's good for you or bad for us.
Yeah, it's a little both. I don't know, but I had fun, and that's what's most important. I played for 4.5 hours of Smash. That's the most I've ever played in one day, so yeah, it was a good time. So, all right, we got some topics here, and we just kind of came up with some here as we were talking off air, and I know the big news, everyone's been talking, PlayStation Now pricing's come out. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is it $19.99 a month or $45 for 3 months?
Yep.
And there's a list of like PS3 games you can play if you have a TV that's capable, which I do, but I already have a PS3, so it makes it pretty much pointless. And you need a PS3 controller. You can do it on your PS4, your Vita, I believe, and it's like a streaming service. It's like a game rental streaming. I didn't get all the details. I think Bear Hugger, you kind of sound like you had a little more info on that.
Yeah, it's just a streaming service.
It's streaming only. So what we wanted to talk about is, do you think, A, that this is something that could work? Do you think the pricing's okay? Do you think the game selection, which seemed pretty minimal at this point? And then after get everyone's thoughts on that, maybe we could decide or kind of talk about if Nintendo maybe could do something better with their virtual console if they could get all their games available. So I guess whoever wants to go first to give your thoughts on it, and then we'll take it from there. Don't everybody volunteer at once. I'm gonna call Ms. T first.
Oh boy.
And welcome back to the Juices Loose, by the way.
Oh yes, it's been a long time since I've been on.
Yes, you and Jay like a couple months ago.
Thanks for having me back. From what I see, at least for right now, the games don't seem like it's worth it. And again, I'm going to be coming from my perspective because I have a PlayStation 3, and a lot of the games on here seem to be PS3 titles. And for me, it doesn't seem like a good idea. It doesn't make sense because I can get a lot of those games for way cheap now on the used market or whatever. And it's just, especially if you have a PS3 and the game roster gets better, maybe it goes back to PS2 games and PS1, and you don't have those systems or those games, and it'd be good. But if you have a PS4 and that's all you have, or I want to say that's all you have. You have a PS4, you don't have another PlayStation system or PlayStation 3 or anything like that. Right now, at least with the games they have now, it just seems like a little bit much because you're already paying for the online service, PlayStation Network, and to have this on top of it doesn't seem like a smart business or money decision to me, because like I said, you're paying for I guess $50 to $60 a month, depending on if you have the gold membership or whatever. Yeah, a year. Sorry. And then you're gonna add PlayStation Plus, right? And then you're gonna add, $20 a month or $45 for 3 months on top of that. That just seems like a lot to me.
And PlayStation Plus, we should mention, you get free games every month, and my friend of mine, he's been really enjoying them. They're free with the PlayStation Plus membership, so it's almost like you're getting better for your money with that. $50 a year is not even $5 a month. And
I think my biggest issue, maybe, is the fact that we're talking about PlayStation Network here, which isn't the most stable, of networks. So because you're streaming this stuff, you're depending on the network to work, and then on top of that, you're depending on, your specific service. So you might be playing a game and might be lagging like all hell, or it may not be up. The system might be down. So there's a lot of factors that put this in a negative thing for me. It's not something I would be interested in. That's for sure.
All right, Coupon, why don't you give your thoughts?
Well, I look at a bigger picture outside of all the what Mr. T said and everything. Like, I agree with him on that, but let's assume this becomes an actual thing, that it becomes popular and it's moving along nicely. What's going to happen with console gaming? Because I believe the streaming service can be done without them. Our console's going to be obsolete. That's my concern. And I like consoles. I like having a console to play my video games on. It's something I've always had. So, call me old fogey if you want, but it is what it is. So I'm concerned that we're going to lose console gaming. I'm concerned that, other companies such as EA, Ubisoft, and Activision are going to start doing streaming services for their games. And then that's just a lot of money you're spending just to get to certain games from different companies and whatnot. And while I believe, I see what people want. I understand people want these games to be able to, hit up some games they missed from previous generations and whatnot. But and then I'm thankful Nintendo does stick with the old ways. But what's to say that if streaming becomes a thing, that they'll stay in the console business? They might also go streaming, and then we're just no longer got consoles. And I'm really concerned for that. That's something I've always been wondering, like, what happens to that?
Yeah, it's hard enough to get you fools to download a game. I've been doing it for the last year.
And I don't have anything against downloading a game. At least I own it. Streaming, you don't own the game. Period.
Just like
and that's something people haven't been talking about. Yeah.
It's like Netflix.
It's like Netflix and GameFly. You can, I have GameFly right now, and I can GameFly all my games. And if I like a game, I can keep it. Is that something they're going to allow in their streaming service? If there's a game you like and you want to keep it?
That's a good thing to bring up. Because how does it compare?
Yeah,
I've never had GameFly, so how does it compare, like,
I
price-wise
mean,
and stuff?
price-wise, it's pretty cheap. I mean, it depends on what service you want. They have two different types, I believe. One where you can get like one game at a time, two games at a time, I believe three. I haven't had it in a while because I kind of canceled my service because I didn't need it. But seeing how things are going, I'm actually reinstating it. And basically, you get your game, you play the game however long you want, you keep it however long you want, and if you want to keep the game permanently, you want to buy the game, you can buy it for a discount price. They'll send you the sleeve and all the pamphlets and whatnot, and you can go ahead and ask them to send you a new game, to rent out and try for yourself. So I mean, it's decent.
And
But I mean,
those are new
yeah.
games. Like,
Yeah,
those
new and
aren't
old,
old.
And you can also get new games, but with the streaming service, I'm pretty sure they're going to start putting newer games on there too, because they're going to want to eliminate making the pamphlets and the discs, and if there's
Yeah,
no
but
consoles, they're not going to need it. So
the problem with the newer games is they're 50, 60 gigs. I don't know that they could stream. I don't
they'll
know.
figure it out. I mean, hey, greedy people figure things out. It's just I look at that. I don't know how they would do it, but they'll figure it out, figure out some kind of way to do it, and I mean, if they do, then you're going to get crappy games you can't send back because they're just being streamed to you.
All right. Jay, why don't you give us your thoughts? We'll go to Bear, and then we'll switch it to if Nintendo could do something like that. So, go ahead, Jay.
On the whole streaming thing, I don't think it's a good idea at all, especially coming from Sony right now. Sony, in my honest opinion, I think Sony should table this for right now until they get their infrastructure set up way better, because, like T said, they go down entirely too much. Their network isn't anywhere near secure enough for a streaming service to be utilized properly. And then on top of that, the list that I just saw a bunch of PS3 games. I didn't even see anything from PS2 or PS1. And that's, to me, if you were going to do something like that, they should have started with PS1, not PS3. But I think it's in a way their way of saying, hey, we are backward compatible, even though technically we're not.
Yeah, because they announced that
Yeah,
when they
pretty
announced the
much.
PS4, they kind of talked about that a service. They didn't have a name for it at the time.
Yeah. So I mean that's basically their way of saying, because they realized they screwed up. They realized that the PS4 should have been backward compatible when all the third parties started saying, hey, we need more time on these games.
Mm-hmm.
So they realized they screwed up. So the whole streaming thing, while in actuality it kind of seems like a good idea, it's really in reality not, because I think about it like this: Netflix is a streaming service. Sometimes when I'm using Netflix, since I have to use the Wi-Fi on it a lot, it skips, it slows down, it has to load, sometimes, especially depending on what all stuff is. Now, I know some people are going to be hard lined in, but a majority of people nowadays just use straight up Wi-Fi. A lot of places, the internet signal and the internet services aren't as great as they are in other places. So that's another thing you have to put into consideration. That's one of the main reasons why nobody wanted that always online for the Xbox One, because when you start thinking about let's just say the United States, since we live in the U.S. as a whole, internet is not stable from city to city.
No.
So
No.
I mean, and that's another thing. So you mean it's a lot of stuff you have to factor into it. So I really don't think it's a good idea, especially at this point. Like, as far as gaming is concerned, it's just not a good idea to be trying to put in something like this. I know they want to be like ahead of everybody, ahead of the curve, but in all honesty, with their financial problems right now, I don't think it's a good idea for them to be taking that big of a risk, because they need to get back in the black instead of staying in the red all the time.
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe they're thinking that this will appeal to more non-console owners, like someone that bought a Sony TV or has a device that it works with. They don't have to go out and buy a system, but like you said, why is it just PS3 games? Why it should have been PS1, 2, and 3, like the best games. If they should have came out with some, like it should have been ready from the get-go with some of the best games that ever hit PlayStation.
Or at least start off with PS1 and don't start off with PS3 because that's just.
Well, they love the PS3 games, you know. That's why we get. Yeah. That's why we got all these remasters and.
Wait a minute! Nobody bought a Sony TV. Who was that?
I bought one, goddamn. Best TV. I gotta say, best picture I've ever seen on a TV. But I bought it last February when I was still kind of okay with Sony. Things have changed, but I'm not gonna give up my TV.
Right.
I don't blame you for that.
I don't blame you.
But Bear Hugger, why don't you give your thoughts on this whole streaming thing, PS Now, and then I'll let you be the first one to kind of switch it to if Nintendo could do something like that with their virtual console, would that where you still needed, you know, to have a system like the Wii U, and you had access to all those games at once, would you pay, you know, for a monthly fee? So why don't you go ahead and take it away?
All right, well, I definitely agree with Jay on the aspect that I don't think PS3 should have been their first library of games, especially when last gen is still relevant, with current gen games still coming out, or cross-gen games, I should say. So a lot of people out there who don't own a PS3 or actually who do, they're not going to buy into the service. If it was PS1 and PS2 with a humongous library of both those two library of games combined together, yeah, there might be a certain appeal to it, but again, it really depends on how fast your internet is. Like for those of you, I'm not sure if you guys have ever tried OnLive. That's a streaming service. That's an actual game streaming service that allows you to stream the game to your computer, whatever you want to call it, blah 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 blah, like crazy jazz, and goes based on your internet connection. I've tried it out myself. It's fine. It works fine with my internet connection. It looks perfectly decent. You can tell that it's definitely streaming because you get like those little you know, like sometimes when you're watching a video on YouTube from time to time, you get those little like fuzzy blurry little things, or sometimes like the video account like looks weird. Yeah, that's the exact same thing. This here is going to be the exact same problem. But I mean, keep in mind though too as well, because remember when OnLive or not OnLive, sorry, PlayStation Now was actually in beta. Remember people complained about like the individual game prices of the game itself.
Yeah, because at that point it was per game.
Yeah, that was per game. Now it's like everything. You just pay either $20 for a month, or you pay $45 for 3 months, which to me is ridiculous in my opinion. Especially when it's got nothing but PS3 games on there right now. I think to me that's just atrocious, but that's just me. They'll probably end up sorting that out. They might end up lowering down the price down the road, but whatever. For right now, where I stand on it, man, I mean, if this thing does take off and people really enjoy it, yeah, that's going to be your future. That's going to be your PS5, ladies and gentlemen. Your PS5 will be an online streaming service. That's exactly what it's going to be. And that's what they're doing right now. They're doing this as a testing ground to see how well it takes off. If it does take off, that's going to be your PS5, ladies and gentlemen. You're not even going to get a console. It's going to be a little tiny little box. That's all it's going to be. Just like what PlayStation TV is there or something, whatever the hell that little device thing that came out. That's what you're going to get for your PS5.
And I think that also works with the PS Now. Is that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But one thing that you said too, Koopa, and you weren't sure if like it'll have the option to download these games like individually until you play them. I'm gonna say no, only because if multiple devices are gonna be using this, especially like PlayStation TV or smartphones, all that crap like that, they won't be able to be downloaded on those devices because the devices will not be, capable of actually running the game in and of itself as a whole. So streaming, that's just the way it's going to go. It's the way it's going to be. Yet, as far as like, there's a lot of questions you have to take in the factor too as well. It's like, what happens if your internet connection craps out or goes down in the middle of your playing? Is like the streaming service going to pause or if it goes down and your Steam file, you're screwed. You know what I mean? Plus, on top of it, it's like, okay, so if you play games, say, I don't know, like say Call of Duty Advanced Warfare on the PS3, and that's on the actual service. You play that. How are you planning on playing the online too as well when your connection's using for the streaming aspect, and then along too as well for the online component of it? That's way too much internet going into one, unless it shares it somehow. I don't know how the hell that's going to work, but
it probably certain devices will have enough buffer they could load an online level. Like it probably has enough. They'd have to have enough memory to maybe load a multiplayer map, and then at that point it's just working just like like it normally would.
Yeah, it's just like those are the kind of questions I kind of like bring it into questioning about this service, because I mean if that be the case, 'cause, I mean, like I said, when you go like, I'll bring up online real quick before I go into the Nintendo subject. uh that game, or that application itself doesn't really have too many online multiplayer component games, and I think only two of them did, but they got pulled off because nobody liked it because it was way too freaking laggy for that kind of stuff. So that's the fear that I have with this actual service. The price itself, no, not yet. I would not pay that much money right now. I mean, if they had like a whole library of PS1 and PS2, then yeah, I would definitely consider that, because we already know PS2 is not compatible with the PS3 anymore. It was from the launch day, but not anymore. Yeah, then that would definitely be worth the investment to a degree, just to try it out, even though there is a free trial, mind you, right from the start of it. So it's going to be interesting to see a lot of people's feedback on that come on the 13th. I think it's not going to take off worth a crap. I think nobody's going to care for it, except for the diehard Sony fans. You know, they buy literally anything, or you know, that kind of stuff. They think it's like the next best thing. And I hate saying that, but that's just the way I always see a lot of these fanboys, quote unquote, on the internet. But as far as Nintendo doing something like that, they still have a long way to go to even get their damn online straightened out, to be quite honest, to even jump into something like that. But however, though, for their next gen console, I'd rather them not do something like that. I'd rather them come up with something similar to that, of like their own kind of structure, like the way Steam has their stuff set up. You know what I mean? Where like you can like browse through all their virtual console games, like release a whole bunch, and just give the freaking player freedom to download what the heck they want. You know what I mean? Like, it started good on the Wii, but now it's on the Wii U itself. It's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They'll have a long way to go before they actually do something like that. But I mean, if just to spitball it real quick, if I was gonna say if they were to do something next gen for their for like any kind of streaming service, definitely not on their next gen console. Definitely not. Maybe the gen after, maybe we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But Nintendo usually likes to sit back and see how things plan out first before they even consider touching that aspect. You know what I mean? That makes sense. I mean, they're still doing a lot of stuff with their online that they still have to get right.
And they just went to HD, so it's like...
Yeah. So they're kind of like, I don't like using the term a generation behind, as many people would use, but they kind of like just like to sit back and say, okay, we'll see what they're going to do first, and we'll see how that does, and then we'll take an idea like that, but we'll improve on it vastly, you know, that kind of stuff with that, depending on what it is. Their online, though, is almost there, but not quite.
That's a good point. So let me throw this to Coupon. What if Nintendo said, all right, we're going to have our virtual console. We're going to put all our games on there in a couple years. You're going to pay a monthly fee, and you can download any game, play it, and then download another game, and you lose the access to the first game or something. Like, could they do something like that instead of a streaming service? Maybe you have a certain amount of games you can get a month.
No.
No?
No. I like my game. I like having my games.
Yeah, we're talking virtual console though. Like,
oh, virtual console? Is it?
We're talking NES, because everybody complains about the NES, Super NES games being $5 and $8. What if it was like a monthly fee and you got like a certain amount of games you could play or something?
Depends on the monthly fee. What are we talking? Like what?
$10.
$10 a month.
Is there any way they could do it? Anybody here think Nintendo could do anything like to make that work, or is everyone against the idea?
I wouldn't be completely against it, but I don't know.
Because right now the virtual consoles, I don't think a Super NES game downloaded is worth $7.99, especially when I have the cartridges for most of the good games.
Right, because I don't even purchase half of those games, to be honest. But if they had like I don't know. I'm not even sure how that would work, because.
And those games are going to be really small file size, so the streaming part is not going to be an issue.
Yeah, that's
true. If they actually had a concept like that, what Coupon was asking about, where you can stream it or you could like buy it and download it yourself, then I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, if you could do both, like
if you could do both, like you could. Yeah, that would be nice if you had it separated. Like, if you don't want the actual streaming, you know, the pay to streaming for the whole year or whatever, you could purchase the game itself, but it would have to be fairly cheaper than what they're doing with them right now.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. But one thing I will say, sorry, real quick though, I forgot to add this in there earlier. If Nintendo were to do something like that, I would love it if they had it so like you can test drive the streaming thing for each game. just in case, like if it's a game that you happen to see that you're not quite sure what it is, or you look at the screenshots for it. Let's say, like, hey, this game looks kind of interesting. But I don't really want to invest the money or pay not subscription though, whatever you want to call it. But if they have it so like you want to buy the game in general, like allow them to just test out the stream of it just to see if they actually like it or not. You know what I mean? If they don't want to pay for that subscription fee for the actual streaming service.
Well, I would hope that all these streaming services, should they ever appear, they would give you a trial, to check it out.
Yeah, you could play the game for 5 minutes before you make a decision.
No.
Yeah. Kind of like what it was with the PlayStation Plus trials, right, for last gen. Sort of like that. It just doesn't have to be
I'd say like a 14-day trial of the service itself.
Yeah, that would work fine.
Once it expires, you can't really get access to the game or anything unless you actually sign up to the service or you pay for the game itself if it's a split service.
14 days. Well, 14-day trial. That'll be a lot of games I'll have beat within 14 days.
I think we're all come from a certain era. I think it'd be nice to figure out what an 18-year-old thought of the streaming service and stuff, because we're all old school.
Because we're old school.
They're
so
born in the age of internet, so they'll probably
they'll
say,
be
yeah,
used
this
to
is
it,
awesome. You know what I mean?
All right. Any J or T, you have any? Is there any way Nintendo could do something that you think would work, or you'd be happy with, or?
They could do something. I won't like it. I mean, of course, as a Nintendo fan, I would love for Nintendo to do the exact same thing. I'm upset somebody else would do. No, I wouldn't want Nintendo to do this either. Not at that pricing structure, especially. That's still not a good pricing structure. If they could offer something, more attuned to what you pay for your online services for these consoles, $50 to $60 a year. Then we're talking something, but a monthly fee, I just don't like that. For me, like you guys were saying, maybe it's the era thing. For me, this will never be good enough because I have a NES, a Super NES,
right?
64, Wii, a GameCube. I have all those consoles still, so I would only buy it if I didn't have that game on one of those consoles, and for a convenience thing, because obviously right now I'm playing the Wii U the most, so to have to go back and play it on a different setup, because what I do, especially for my old school systems, I have to go play on a CRT TV, because those old systems don't look good on a HD.
Oh, trust.
So it's a good convenience thing, but it's just the pricing per monthly pricing. Unless it's like $5 a month, just don't sound good to me. It's just not. It's not worth it for me, especially. I love Virtual Console. It could be better, obviously, on Wii U, but you still can download to your Wii. Your Wii system on your Wii U. So you can still download. You just can't, share it and all that stuff on Miiverse, which is cool and all that good stuff. But it's just. The pricing just doesn't work for me. I like everybody else here I like to own the game. If it's a game I like or I'm looking forward to playing. I guess an option to rent it before you buy it is cool, or a free trial or something like that would be good. But for me, it's just not viable.
All right. And I do want to throw this out there. I can't remember if I let anybody know I got my Super NES back after 17 years from my cousin.
Oh.
And it's definitely discolored, but I got all the games. I had to really use rubbing alcohol and stuff to clean the contacts to get the games to work, and I had to tear the controllers apart. But I got everything working, and it was fun. I played Killer Instinct for a couple, maybe an hour. But then it's one of those things, it's like it's cool, the idea of it, you get it all set up, and then it looked terrible on my brand new LED TV. It looks okay on my theater projector because that's from 2005, so it doesn't have the best, sharpest picture, so it still looks okay. But after a couple days, I just put it back in the box. It was nice to have it back, but I played all those games so much. That was back in the day when you bought a game, you played it. Until next game.
Well, especially if you rented the games back when renting games was
and you rented. But I can honestly say, like, Super Mario World on the Wii U Virtual Console looks 10 times sharper and better than hooking up the old Super NES. So in that regard, unless you have an old CRT TV, which I might get one to play it on, it actually the Virtual Console games actually look a whole lot better. So just something to think about. You know, you get a digital version if they could find a way to get them all their games available from the NES to the GameCube or something. You know, it might have some appeal there, but I think Bear was right. It's not going to be in this generation or the next, I don't think. And I guess, Jay, I haven't heard your thoughts on. You got anything to add to that before we move on?
I don't think they would actually do it. If there's a way to do it, they would find it, and they will find it. They'll find a way to make it affordable for everybody, because that's just what they do.
Yeah.
But as far as like, they're not going to do anything that's going to set your wallet back from a release standpoint, and they're not going to do anything to that you know it's not going to work. Like they're not going to sit up and say, oh, you have to have a download only system. They're not going to do that because they know internet ain't stable, so they're not going to do that. I mean, if there was a way to do it, they would find it, but I don't see them doing it because it's not viable. It's just not a viable thing to do at this point. I mean, if you could get the internet to be stable where everybody has like 100 megs up and down or something crazy like that, then yeah. If everybody was fast, yeah. But you still got a lot of people that stay in like rural countryside areas that have consoles that their internet ain't the best.
It's 4 megs.
You know, they got it. Yeah, they got it, but it just ain't the best. So, and then you got people who stay in Atlanta, stay in DC, stay in, you know, big cities that got, you know, they getting 50 up, 50 down.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I mean, until that gets situated, that's why anybody that says like, oh, that streaming beef is fine, I'm like, dude, you're not looking at everybody. You know, it's more than just you.
Yeah, because there's places
everybody else.
Like 20 minutes from me where they can't even get high-speed internet through anybody.
Yeah.
Like Comcast, nobody, because it's too rural. There's like farmland. It's about 30 minutes from here east. So Nintendo waited on HD like gaming because at the time of the 360 and PS3 and the Wii, like the HD TVs in the homes was like under 20% saturation. Like at only less than 20% of the population had a HD TV at the time.
Yep.
They were wrong. They gambled wrong on that one because by 2 years later it was over 50%. So, you know, they kind of.
Well, it depends on that, because you got to remember most of those TVs were still expensive. They didn't come down in price till like 2009.
Yeah, but I mean they missed half the Wii's life. You know, was a lot of people had HD TVs. So, but I agree. Yeah, I don't think they would do it.
Just want to say one more quick thing on that is that Nintendo is really conscious of their value, and you know I feel like something like this could devalue some of their games. You know, like you were saying earlier, some people don't like the pricing structure on the Virtual Console, and I understand exactly why they do it. I don't really have that much of a problem with it right now, anyway. But I think they do it because they don't want to give people that cell phone price game feel. You know,
that's true.
They're really conscious of not getting their games that low to where they feel like throwaway cell phone type games.
That's true.
I think that's a conscious decision that Nintendo does when they're thinking about the pricing and stuff like that. So
that's a good point, and I do want to bring up, you're talking about value of old games. You know, like Sony just released that RPG from the PS1, like Sudoku or whatever 2, and that game's going for over $100 if you have the actual physical copy. Because
now the value of that's gone down the shitter.
But I do want to throw this out there real quick. I have, when I got my Super NES back, somehow my cousin acquired a Super Mario RPG.
Oh,
it's in the box. The box is in okay condition, but the game manual is in almost mint condition. The cartridge is in excellent condition. And I've seen just the cartridges alone going on eBay for $50. So, and I played it for a little bit. It wasn't a game I ever got into. So I'm thinking about throwing that up on eBay. Unless any collectors out there want to hit me up before that.
You want to throw that up on T-Bay?
Yeah, I mean, I would grade the box. I would grade the box condition at about a 6.5, 7. The manual at a 9 and the cartridge at a 9, and it works perfectly. I was playing it for about an hour, and it's just not my cup of tea, but tea, no pun intended. But once we get off air, maybe I'll hold it up to the camera and show you what it looks like. So
Cool.
I know a lot of people really dug that game. It was made by Square Soft back in the day with Nintendo. So, all right. So let's before we move on to the next subject, which this could kind of turn into a subject, but I just want to ask you guys a question, just spontaneous. I didn't pre-ask this, so you guys don't know what's coming. It's kind of random. We were slightly talking about 3DSs off air, but when do you guys think the new 3DS is going to launch in the U.S. and Europe in 20? I mean, pretty sure they said it will, but I'm not 100% on that, but I'm confident it will. But what month do you guys think that we'll see the new 3DS here in the U.S.? Anybody? April for Bear?
I was gonna say March.
Yeah,
March or April.
March or April, yeah.
March
It's
or
going to
April.
be soon because they're already pulling in Japan. They're already stopping production on the original 3DSs. So, actually, no, a lot of GameStop, in North America are not going to be taking any more original 3DSs anymore.
Oh, really? They're like.
So yeah, so I'm pretty sure the actual release date is going to be revealed relatively soon.
So what do you think the reason is they haven't given us a date yet? Do you think they're just trying to manufacture as many as possible, or maybe they haven't even decided the month yet? You think they'll wait?
I think it's a manufacturing thing, and on top, because when does Monster Hunter 4 come out? Doesn't Monster Hunter 4 is like March?
February.
Yeah.
I thought it was January, February. Let me look.
Well, I thought it was March. Yeah, because I think that's when they were. That's what I would think they would drop it with.
Right.
Would be Monster Hunter.
Be a perfect game to drop it with too as well because that second analog stick.
Yeah. So I mean, if thinking about it logically, that would be the game to drop it with. Would be Monster Hunter. They may just be waiting just for like getting all their ducks in a row for the whole, especially with the manufacturing, and probably to tell everybody in a direct. You know how they like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Give you a month and a half to get your money together.
Yeah, get your money in order.
I'm sure Xenoblade Chronicles for the 3DS too as well. It's already released in Japan for the new 3DS.
Yeah.
Will also translation and get that all ready and whatnot to go.
All
To me,
this stuff and
not going to be
Majora's Mask.
exclusive.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah,
that too, yeah, that game as well. Yeah.
So
I
let
think
me.
They are
March and
doing
April, I think around that time.
right?
Yeah.
Are they releasing like both of them at the same time, like the regular and the XL at the same time?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys. All right. I just bought a refurbished right before Smash came out. I paid $150 for an XL. Thing looks brand new. For me personally, that's the top value of a standard 3DS XL that I think it's worth. I think it's kind of ridiculous that the thing's still $200, me personally. But what do you think the new 3DSs will come priced at? Do you think they'll drop the price of the old 3DSs down and keep the new at the same price, or do you think like the new 3DS XL is going to be like $220, $230?
No, it's going to be the same price.
I wouldn't assume
I don't
it's
think
the
so.
same price too.
I don't think so
But
either.
they probably gonna.
I think it'll be 150 to 170.
For the standard?
150 probably for the standard one, and then the XL will probably like 170, 169.
For the new?
Something like that. Yeah, I think so.
That would be great.
That would be amazing.
That's what I'm hoping for. But I'm knowing Nintendo lately, they're very they like to keep the prices high. It seems right now their profit margin, they're just definitely more focused on making more money at this point. I'm afraid that it's going to be 200 and 220. That's just a gut feeling I have. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
I doubt it. I think the highest you'll see is like $179.99. I think that's the highest they'll probably go.
Yeah.
That'll be the XL.
Because I mean, if they're pulling off the original ones off the shelf now, I mean, it wouldn't make sense for them to release this and they actually have the price be over $200. That doesn't make any sense.
Except for the fact that the original XL right now is still $200. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, I'm sure they wanted to do a price drop, but with the new 3DS, the new 3DS model coming out on the horizon, they're just like, whatever, we'll just wait till then.
Or
So I think T is right. I think 179 for the XL and 149 for the Slim or the original.
And it could be actually cheaper to produce the new ones. They might actually be able to produce them cheaper.
Yep.
So that's good. I'm glad I asked that because I've been kind of worried that they're gonna mess that up and price it too high. I hope you guys are right, and I hope I'm wrong. Jay, did you have? I don't remember if you chimed in there.
No, I don't have a thought on that because I'm gonna get it regardless. I'm gonna get it regardless. This is how they got me. They got me with Xenoblade and they got me with Monster Hunter. When they said that, all right, you got my money. Just give me the date.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the date. I'll go on the pre-order. Just let me know when I need to pre-order. So
yeah, I mean they got me because my son broke mine. So I'm kind of waiting. I'm waiting to get a new 3DS because of that.
As well, yeah, I'm waiting myself too as well.
So the $1 million question here: you gonna get the one with the faceplates, or are you gonna get the?
I don't care about faceplates.
No? I do. No,
awesome,
I do because I want the faceplates, but I'm mad they don't have them on the XL. I don't understand why they didn't do that.
They did make the standard one 1.3 times bigger screen, so it's a little bit closer to the XL.
Yeah, but how much bigger is that? I don't know. I'd have to see it.
It's significant.
I'm hoping they have like some on the display or something so I can actually see it.
It's not quite in between the standard and XL screens right now, but it's closer to that than it's closer to the standard size, but it's definitely an improvement in size, and I think the faceplates are awesome. Like that's the only reason I consider getting
one. I like the customization on that. That's a fun little feature.
But it's just interesting that they made us have to choose. Like,
yeah, for me, if I was, I was just gonna say I wasn't gonna get both. I wasn't gonna get the XL because I have an XL. So I wasn't gonna get the new 3DS XL. But I'm probably gonna end up getting both now. That's just because I love playing on the bigger screen, and for me the biggest feature is the 3D camera or I guess that's what we want to call it, the 3D.
It tracks your eyes.
Right, being able to track you and not having to worry about that small little, area where you can see it perfectly. Yeah, the sweet spot, and not have to worry about that and be able to enjoy the game a little bit better without having to worry about, that problem and being able to enjoy that 3D, which I love. I know a lot of people don't really see
I like it.
I love the 3D.
I love the 3D. I just can't use it because of that.
Right.
I always had it on when I had mine. It didn't really bother me at all. It didn't hurt my eyes, I think the only I never played Pilot Wings, but I did play the demo of Pilot Wings, and that game was definitely pretty hard on the eyes at first, but you get accustomed to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, because I couldn't play Mario Kart 7 with the 3D because in tense race,
right,
you find yourself tilting the system, and you'd lose the 3D, and you'd actually fall off a track.
Right, yeah, it goes all blurry. Yeah. Hey, now you don't have to worry about that problem anymore.
So Bear just shared me a link, and we didn't have this as a topic, but it's actually a good segue and a good chance for us to bring up every Nintendo fan's favorite analyst, Michael Patcher, whatever his stupid name is. It wasn't that long ago that
this guy,
that he said that Nintendo stock was just like, no, don't buy, it's terrible, this and that, Nintendo should go third party, all those stupid things. So, GoNintendo.com has this, and Seeking Alpha, I don't know who that is, but they've picked Nintendo as their stock of the day. They're impressed by the recent turnaround, and this is what it says. Thanks to the impressive turnaround potential at Nintendo and the strong earnings estimate revisions we are seeing for the stock right now, we have given Nintendo stock a #1 rank of strong buy and looking for outperformance ahead for the stock. And so they're really, this company, I don't know, I'm not into stocks or anything, but these people have ranked Nintendo as a #1 for their stocks as a very strong buy right now. And it definitely showed when Nintendo reported how much more, what was their earnings, like their profits were up like 3 times what they were last year, something like that. And that's just...
I think Amiibos for that too.
Yeah, Amiibos. I mean, everything they're doing. I got the new 3DS coming, and it's just, why do people keep they always count Nintendo out. They do it every generation, and I'm not saying this is completely like guaranteed that Nintendo's going to be good for, this is just one person's opinion of the stock. So, but I thought it was an interesting little tidbit.
It's kind of it's like I said before. It's like the whole entire aspect of what happened with Sony during the PS3 generation. It started off slow for the first 2 years, and then they found their footing in the third year. Nintendo is starting to do that now, so it's the same scenario. It's just not as big, but it's still happening. Yeah. Sorry, Jay. Go ahead. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh no, it's fine. The only thing about the whole stock situation is, like, I can understand why somebody would say that, because when you look at it from a standpoint of like business, you would not want to go with Sony right now because they were talking about posting a $2.1 billion loss.
Mm-hmm.
So no, you're not going with Sony, and you're not going with Microsoft because Microsoft is turning around, but it's still in the red. Yeah,
and it doesn't ever drop that much, so you're buying it high, and it's never going to get that much higher with Microsoft stocks. It's always been pretty high.
Which is why, like, the shareholders, the principal shareholders want, if the game division doesn't make a profit, they want them gone. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, that's why I always laughed when Pachter would say stupid stuff like that, because I'm like, dude, if you are an analyst, you cannot sit up there and honestly expect me to take you seriously when I'm seeing this, and this is your job to be an analyst.
It doesn't make sense, because Nintendo will always be a good buy because of their games. And until their games start falling off, they will be a great buy as far as stocks go, because
it's going to be low. Right.
I mean, this is all right. What we're talking about a couple of years ago was the first time they lost, I guess, lost money.
Their profits were down below.
Right. And that was because, one, Wii U R&D, and two, they were selling the system itself at a loss for the first time ever. So these things are the reasons why they, but the games were still selling great. I mean, you had Mario Kart Wii still selling 1 million 2 years after the game came out. Still selling 1 million in a year. So, I mean, Nintendo is always going to be a good buy because of their games. So for an analyst to look somebody in the mouth and truthfully say, what Pachter has said is laughable. I can't believe he says that stuff with a straight face. I wonder who's paying him.
Nintendo's business, like their ethics and they seem to have the consumers in mind, like, as their priority, and you're always going to do well if you have your consumers as your top priority, like your customer. Like, they always treat everybody right. They do business the right way, from what we can see. And maybe you're not going to make a huge return on your investment if you're looking at short term or something. But if you're not going to, you're not risking a lot if you go with Nintendo. You might not gain a whole lot. Like, maybe that's where he's come from. But the way he always says it, it's kind of a slap in the face to Nintendo and everything they've done.
Well, that's Pachter for you. I mean, when he's, excuse me, language, dick riding Sony so damn much. Yeah, that's what happens, man. That's just.
Let's not talk about him anymore.
I agree.
But talking about Nintendo and they're improving, this is one of the topics that I didn't let you guys know, and I do want to throw out kind of a disclaimer, because I know there's been some talk lately, a lot of YouTubers saying, okay, let's talk about gaming. Let's keep it gaming. I don't care about sales. I don't care about this and that. I don't care if Nintendo's making money. I don't care if Sony's making money. I just want to play games. And that's all fine and dandy if you're a gamer. But we're on YouTube. We need, we're having a podcast here. We need topics. We need things to discuss. And in that regard, I've always kind of brought sales up. But the only time, in my personal opinion, I think it's a problem is if you won't play a game or you can't enjoy something because it didn't sell well in everybody's minds, like Bayonetta 2.
Yep.
I saw
on
VG charts where some guy was saying it's a flop, let's talk about it, it's a fact. And I'm just like, first of all, it isn't. It's almost at $500,000 after a couple months. Like, we don't know how much the budget was, whatever. But it doesn't matter if it sold 50,000 copies. It's still my game of 2014. It's still the best game I played in 2014. I've already got about 10, 15 hours in it this year. It doesn't affect my enjoyment of the game, and I think the people that if it doesn't affect your enjoyment of a game based on its sales, then that's the people that we should be calling out, and that's the type of people that I hope that some of these other YouTubers are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But with that disclaimer out of the way, I wanted to get you guys' opinions as Nintendo fans, but also as gamers. We all have Wii U's, so Nintendo selling more Wii U's doesn't really impact us that much, other than, it's nice to know maybe you could get, they're making money. You're going to get more games, and the life of the Wii U might last a year or two longer if they can pick up sales. So, with that in mind, what are your guys' and Gal? What are your thoughts? What does Nintendo need to do in 2015 to improve Wii U sales more than the 40% that they improved over 2013 to 2014? So basically, they sold like 2.5 million Wii U's in 2013, and in 2014, it's at about 3.5 million. So, what does Nintendo need to do this year, do you think? Because now their big guns are out. They got Smash out, they got Mario Kart, Mario 3D and 2D. All their big sellers are out. So, what does Nintendo need to do this year to really improve the Wii U sales and in their market share? So, anybody want to go first? Otherwise,
I'll tackle that one.
Go ahead.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Content. Just keep announcing and keep releasing content. That's all they got to keep doing, because they know third parties are pretty much basically out the window for their console. That's already a given now. Just keep doing what you're doing, and if you look at all the games they've already announced that are coming this year, plus games that they have yet to be, revealed yet. 'Cause even if you watched that Smosh game thing, whatever you want to call it, there, where Miyamoto was on there today, that got released today. He said at the end that there is games that have not been announced that will be coming out in 2015 that they're going to be revealing soon. So who knows? So if they can keep the content going and keep it flowing, and and try not to have any downfalls or any of that jazz, yeah, they'll be fine. Just keep the content coming.
So when do they need to announce these guys? Save it all for E3. These games they haven't announced.
There's gonna be some at E3, I would imagine. So there's also, I'm probably sure there's gonna be a couple little sneaky surprises and a couple of their directs over the next few months. All that stuff. So yeah, if they can just keep the content flowing throughout the rest of the year with end it off with Star Fox and Zelda, and then having some big huge announcements at E3 and keep that momentum going for at least the next year until the end of 2016. Yeah, they'll be fine. They may not push numbers like Sony is doing right now, with them being at 18.5 according to what Sony just announced today. But that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's the content in the games that we're playing is what matters the most. So if Nintendo can keep these games rolling, keep them coming out at a decent, at a rapid pace, but keeping that quality that we always come to expect when it comes to Nintendo IPs, they'll be golden, man. They'll be fine. Because I'll look at this as yet another amazing generation for Nintendo, as much as I love the GameCube.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they need to be PlayStation 4, Xbox One numbers, but just to keep improving, because like I said, Mario Kart 8 and Smash, or Mario Kart and Smash are their two biggest franchises, followed by Mario. Zelda really has never been the big seller. So they got all those games out. So in my mind, this year they got to do something extra, because they can't rely on Mario Kart and Smash like they did last year, and it didn't have as big of an impact, I think, as maybe they were hoping for. So any other ideas? I got a few ideas, but
I got one.
Okay.
I think Splatoon is going to be that sleeper game.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be the game that's going to be another one of their heavy hitters for down the line.
Oh,
and
yeah.
People right now are sleeping on it. Some folks they're excited about it because it's something new and it's colorful and exciting. It's kind of a shooter type of game. But I really think that's the sleeper game right there. Mm-hmm. And then you got Xenoblade Chronicles X, whatever. That's another one that's probably going to be a sleeper for some folks, and it'll bring a lot of people over. So, and Zelda. We don't know much about it. Everybody's excited, but they're curious, and some people are concerned. And while it's not usually one of their big hitters, I think this one might be that one Zelda where we're like, what the? So I don't know. I just really think that they have some nice lineup for this year. And like Bear said, if they just keep the games coming, make their announcements when they have to make them, and we'll see some turnarounds. There's a lot of people out there that say I can't justify buying a Wii U for one game, but they just ignore the fact that Wii U has more than one game. But it's whatever.
Yeah,
so
it's Mario.
Yeah. So it's whatever. They'll look past the Marios and Zeldas to see the other games that are there. And despite the fact that we do have a Zelda coming out, I'm rooting for Nintendo. So I think they're gonna do well. You know, as long as they keep on trucking, they'll be doing fine. I mean, I would like for them to do more advertising.
Well,
you know?
they are getting better at that.
I have seen them doing a lot better, so that's good. You know, maybe make some outside partnerships or something. You know, of course they're doing that with the second parties and stuff. So that's good. That's another way of doing it. And I know we're not going to get third parties anytime this generation or next generation, but maybe they can work behind the scenes to mend some of those situations, and maybe next generation we will see some third parties, but we're not going to see it this time around. So everybody kind of needs to chill out with that. There's one
more thing I want to add. One thing I want to see that definitely has to come this year sometime is like some more features for their online stuff like that for the actual Wii U itself. Give us a freaking cross chat for people that want it. Give us a proper invite system, Nintendo. I know you guys can do it. I know you guys are probably working on it right now as we speak.
Right, because they already got small features already in there.
Yeah, because I mean, once they have a proper invite system and a cross chat, there's no way people can sit there and say that their online is crappy anymore. Depending on how they do it. But I mean,
I know a couple people who will.
They'll say it anyway, but
I know who you're talking about, Jay. Believe me, I know.
I'd be happy with a quick messaging system over cross chat.
Yeah.
Quick messaging system would alleviate, because even with Smash, half the time I don't even use the voice chat with. I mean, it's so crackly and stuff, but I think a quick messaging system without getting out of the game would really be a bigger improvement. So, Jay or T, do you got any other ideas or something maybe Nintendo could do?
I got a couple ideas. GameCube Virtual Console.
They're working on it. It's coming.
That's coming.
It's coming. They need to work faster though.
Yeah, that and they just need to keep the games coming. They already doing to me, they're doing exactly what their competitors aren't doing, and that's having a beast lineup. They got a beast lineup where they're telling you what's coming out. They're showing you what it's looking like, and you're not having to guess. You're not watching like a CG trailer.
But that doesn't mean anything to most of those gamers.
Just gonna say.
It doesn't mean
it does to us.
It doesn't mean anything to most of them. But at the same time, if people can't argue the fact that when you're looking at a gameplay as opposed to
trailers,
a trailer, gameplay is different from a trailer, and you're looking at. Most time you're looking at gameplay, so I mean, they can say a whole lot of stuff, but I'm looking at gameplay, and when I get the game in my hands, that's what it's gonna play like. So I'm like, if they keep doing what they need to do as far as gaming is concerned, they'll be fine. But yes, they do need to up their marketing. They got the money to do it, so they can't. That's not an excuse. They just need to up their advertising and their marketing. But I mean, I think they're on the right path, because you have to have software. You have to have the software. You have to have the game. So
I would like to see Nintendo do another Wii U tour like they did before the launch of the Wii U, to kind of get like the system in people's hands and get them to fully understand it. Because marketing the Wii U is one thing, but trying to really sell it to somebody is a lot more difficult compared to like what the Wii was. The Wii was simple; you knew what it was right away. You know what it was advertising for. But the gamepad, very difficult to actually advertise properly.
It's just something about the Wii U where you have to physically play it in order to appreciate it. It's
more than just play it. You have to sit down with it by yourself and
experience it.
Use all the features on your own, not just like see somebody. Like my buddy Steel Fox came over like 3 times, and he saw it, but he was just like timid. He didn't want to hold the controller. He didn't want to mess around with it because it's mine. And it's like, and then when he got in his house, he's like, "Oh, I get the Miiverse now. I understand why it's good.
Yeah,
I can share pictures."
Yeah, that's exactly what they need to do. I mean, like they've already been doing that a little bit throughout the year of 2014 when they had like those mall setups and whatnot.
And can't you sign up to like Miiverse like through the internet now and stuff?
You can now, and that's a huge thing too, is because people want people get to experience Miiverse and see what it's all about. They're like, "What the hell is this?" And then they start asking questions.
Right.
And then those questions get answered, and you're like, okay, bye.
They also need one more thing they need to do, and that's involve Robot Chicken again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
that was amazing.
All right, Mr. T, you got any improvements?
This
I
is
got two
topic.
gems. I just can't believe no one said them yet.
This is a great topic. I actually just recorded a video on this
Oh, did you?
very topic here.
So you want
So
to save your thoughts?
well, now I'm gonna say a little bit. I don't want to give too much away, obviously, and I'm also kind of doing my own podcast because kind of as a follow up. It'll be my first podcast. Yeah. Great points. Obviously, Nintendo is going to be doing as good, and I'm sure probably a little better than it is doing now. It's going to continue that momentum because of the games that they have coming out. But overall, like my video will speak on, it's hard to defeat that mind share that Microsoft and Sony especially currently have. Because when you have a computer in your house that's run by Microsoft, and you're just kind of a casual gamer guy, you go to the store and you see a Microsoft console, you're probably going to pick that up. And it's hard to compete with that mind share. Same thing goes with Sony. You go to the movies, you go to see Sony movies, you put in your Sony music CD into your Sony tape deck, or your tape deck. Look at me.
Tape deck.
I just gave my age away.
You're so dirty.
Over me, man.
I just
You
showed
mean
my age away.
8-track?
Gotta have that 8-track.
Betamax?
That was great.
Into your Sony CD
scare the
player
kids.
or MP3 player,
iPod.
whatever it might be. It's hard to defeat that mind share, and this is what Nintendo was talking about when they said they can't compete with Microsoft and Sony. That's what they meant. They weren't talking about games. They were talking about that mind share, and they knew that the minute that these big electronics companies jumped into the video game market, that it was going to be tough sledding for them. They knew that. And that's why we are where we are. We have mostly core Nintendo fans are the ones that are sticking with the Nintendo consoles, and it's going to be hard. A lot of people seem to believe that third party, just get the third parties back, and it'll be no, because you got to remember these guys have been playing their Call of Duties and all this for 10, 15 years on another console. You're not going to convince those guys to jump onto Nintendo after 10, 15 years.
No.
Just like that. So. Yeah, more people will show up. It'll get better. And like I said, Nintendo just dropping these games will make it better. And they're obviously on a turnaround. And I'd be happy to see at the end of Wii U's lifespan 25, 30 million consoles sold. I think Nintendo will be happy with that too.
Yeah, because I mean, right now, if nothing changes, if they release a new system in 2016, they'd be at 17, 18 million if
Tops.
they continued.
Right.
At its current state. So, all right. So here are my ideas, and I'm going to explain. I tried when we were doing that New Year's Eve group chat. I was trying to say this, but no one could understand me. Let's not get this twisted here. Microsoft and Sony wish they had the software sales of their first-party titles that Nintendo has. In that regard, in software sales, Sony and Microsoft are jealous, and in hardware sales, I'm sure Nintendo's slightly jealous of the other two. Because you look at Nintendo's first-party games, New Super Mario Bros. U, Mario Kart 8, Nintendo Land, 3D World, they're all, some are at 4, most are at 3, 3D World's about to hit 3, Smash is already at, I think it was, I forget.
Almost at 2 now.
Yeah, it's almost at 2. Europe's really, they're not
Donkey
buying
Kong is
Smash.
the only game that hasn't broke 1 million yet.
But, I mean, Microsoft and Sony, if they could get that kind of sales out of their first-party titles, they would be very happy. So Nintendo's happy in that regard. But with that same mindset, if you're selling, let's say, 3 million copies of Mario Kart 8, you have 8 million Wii U's out there. You would sell, in my mind, if you had 12 million Wii U's out there, you would have 4.5, 5 million copies of Mario Kart 8. So I think the number one thing, and I can't believe it hasn't happened yet, and I know some people will disagree, they have to drop the price to $250 because money talks. And you look at the holiday sales, the Wii U right before Christmas tracked at about 280,000 worldwide, and the other consoles were 700,000 to 800,000, and the 3DS was at almost 600,000. So there's definitely something holding people back, and in my mind, looking at the Xbox One's turnaround, it's a $50 price cut is all it takes. Look
Oh,
at
yeah.
how many they sold. And Nintendo's going to make that money back, unlike Microsoft, who's only helping out Ubisoft and EA and Activision because they're going to sell more copies of their games. Nintendo's going to sell more first-party games. They're going to make that money back and then some on more copies of Smash and Mario Kart 8 and 3D World being
And
sold.
if you count the amiibos on top of that too as well.
Yeah, and Amiibo. That's another one of my ideas is get a game out that uses specifically
Yep.
made for Amiibos that can get those idiots who somehow think they can't play as Mario with their Mario Amiibo in Smash, even though Mario was there from the beginning. Give them a game or something to really push that Amiibos even further.
Yeah, I think they are
Nintendo
working on
Land
something
Adventure,
like
Nintendo
that.
Land 2.
Something like that,
Oh,
yeah.
there you go. That would be cool.
Put like a Wii Sports, Nintendo Land game together with Amiibos, and people go crazy for that. As much as we like it the way it is, I like having just little bonuses in a bunch of different games with one Amiibo. A lot of people want that. They want that Amiibo to work, and they want that character to be on screen, and just they want what Skylanders gives them in Disney Infinity. So, and then my third thing. It was probably the best thing about E3 2014. Have another Smash Brothers tournament. Have two.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
three. Have a big ass tournament. Do your live stream with the Treehouse, and get professionals that have it in different cities, and then have like a big one somewhere, California, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, something like that. Because that Smash tournament really seemed to get people excited. And that's their lead game. That's their biggest game as far as what people are still talking about right now. Smash Brothers is everywhere. They just had some kind of online like a tournament. They were playing 4-on-4 teams, local 8-player, and it was freaking awesome to watch. So that's what I would do. And if I was, I know Nintendo, they like that they're making money again on the Wii U's hardware, but people. Money talks. $250. They see a console with $250 with games. I mean, that $50 just makes such a huge difference to people in their mind.
Yep.
And I would have done it. I would have had it effective like right away in January because 2015 we don't have much. Like Coupon mentioned, a lot of games. Those are all coming out June to November. They don't have a whole lot for the Wii U coming out before then that we know of. They got Kirby, maybe Yoshi, and possibly Splatoon at this summertime.
And
so
Xenoblade.
yeah, and that one we don't know the date. That if that comes out in March, that would be big. But if it's summertime, then they just got to have something to keep this momentum. Because last year they had a lot of momentum with 3D World. As soon as January 1 hit, they went right back to 30,000 weekly sales worldwide. So that's just my thoughts.
But I do agree with you, though, Terminator, as far as the price drop goes, bringing it down to $250, because a couple places did, like eBay did that during the Black Friday sale.
Mm-hmm.
No other store was doing it, and yet, how many clicks did it get coupon? Like a shitload. Like,
Well,
they were selling so fast.
Yeah.
And then,
it sold like 12,000 units really
Yeah.
quick.
And then, like, I think it was the week after Christmas, I think it was. The week before Christmas, Target in the States actually had the Wii U on sale for $250, and like it was like selling like freaking hotcakes.
Yeah, because in the U.S. That week before Christmas, ending the 20th, it did like 137,000 or something like that in the U.S. alone. If Europe did like 30,000 or 60.
Yeah, that was probably all Target sales right there. So yeah, Nintendo can get that price down to $250, which I'm sure they're eventually going to put it down to that price. That would be golden for them. Like they'll they'll probably be easily selling no more than like over a little over 100,000 every week if they have that price down easily.
I think
easily.
If they get it 250 by like March, April, that would be I think a great time.
Yeah,
for them to
I
do
agree.
that. And they'll be $150 cheaper than the competition. I mean, that's going to be hard to ignore.
And then people know Star Fox is coming. They know Zelda. They've seen it.
Yep.
And I've heard a lot of people say, well, 2015, I'm definitely getting a Wii U when Zelda comes out. Get them to buy it now, and then they're going to buy a bunch of games. So I just don't see the negative, unless they drop it and it doesn't help boost sales. That's the only gamble there, I guess.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people have been eating up those refurbished ones on their website.
I know those.
And
That's
people who
probably,
got a lot of people who got it there actually right before Christmas and directly after Christmas, man, found out that they got 3D World for free already and pre-installed on their system too as well. So
awesome.
I think
How
they
much are
had a
those?
bonus. $200.
200.
Wow.
The
$200.
GameStop had used ones for like 270
I think kids
with
want-
just
270.
Nintendo Land. That's ridiculous. That was just that's
yeah,
true.
you're gonna- yeah. Actually, that is true. Yeah, because I've seen them at my GameStop for 270, and I'm like,
It's
what?
like with Nintendo Land, like you can get a refurbished for 200, but that's
Yeah,
Still
GameStop.
the
that's
original,
coming from
basically
Nintendo
the original.
itself, so you know you're guaranteed to get an actual working game
Mhm.
console system.
And it's gonna look like new. So
Yeah, exactly.
all right, just real quick, this topic I don't think it doesn't have to take very long. I just want to get your guys' thoughts on this new like advertising campaign for some of these mobile games. I've seen 2 or 3 of them for Game of War and another like Castle Siege type game. These games are getting like these big budget CG commercials. They got Kate Upton with some really good like CG work in the Game of War, advertisement. Just real quick, what are your guys' thoughts on these mobile games trying these big budget commercials? I mean, if this, I hope it doesn't work, and I hope they stop doing it. But do you think that they're fooling people with these commercials? Like people actually think
Oh,
games
absolutely.
are gonna look like that? I mean,
No, absolutely. It's just them. It's a marketing strategy to try to get those people that play mobile games to go in there. You know, they see Kate Upton and freaking whatever you want to call it, and her big ass boobies.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
hoping
I
to
want to play that. She's playing that game.
I was
She
hoping to get
is-
Kate up there
never
with my
gonna-
copy.
She's never going to play that game. She's never going to play that game. I mean, she doesn't even know what the hell the damn game is. She's just like,
Do
okay,
you-
paycheck for me.
do you think that game has any chance of being good? From what I've seen, the idea sounds kind of interesting, but
The idea,
mean-
no.
The gameplay, the 5 seconds of gameplay they actually showed does not, bode well.
no.
What they're doing, obviously, with the Kate Upton, something nice to look at while you're thinking about purchasing that game, and it's called Game of War. Obviously, a play on Game of Thrones.
They're
So
trying
they're
to.
trying to get that money, and I don't trust games that are doing that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's gonna be that good of a game.
No, not at all. Especially when
So-
you got like busty boobs in your face.
Because
behind
yeah,
this game.
what made me think of this was a guy at work. He's almost 50, and he constantly likes to make fun of, video games and stuff. He's not part of his generation, not part of his life. But he was talking about that commercial. He's like, my favorite commercial right now is that Game of War. So he knows the name of it exactly, and it's only
know why
because
it's
of
his
Kate
favorite.
Upton's boobs. I mean, that's the only reason. But if he's on his phone and he sees that, and it's what, $2, whatever it is, they already won in the regard that he knows the name of the game.
Mindshare.
So my question is this going to be profitable? Because those games, their development costs can't be very high. They look so simplistic. Is this one of those plans that's a short term? Because once people start catching on, they're going to just, if every game does it, then it's not going to work. It's only working for the few that are doing it, if it's working at all.
I've seen a few actual mobile commercials that are similar to that, where they had like celebrities come in or big models or whatever you want to call it, advertising a specific game. And those games, they sold okay, but we're not talking like big budget here. No, it's just something that they just try to enforce to try to make a quick buck off something like that, especially off of something that's trying to make a spin off of Game of Thrones. No. And I've seen screenshots of what the game looks like for that Game of War, and it looks like trash. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, wow, you really actually managed to convince her to make a commercial with this? Yeah, she's not playing this game. She was just there for a check and walked the hell out of there.
That's
She
what I'm
doesn't care.
saying. And it's a,
I can't.
like I said, it's actually a pretty decent commercial. If the game was any good, like they make it sound so cool, but I just think they're catering to the audience, because I've seen that commercial almost every commercial break during football playoffs this weekend. Which that's costing them a lot of money, but the audience they're going after is the ones that are uneducated about gaming and they don't know. But I just think it's interesting. I don't think it's going to last, because once you get 20 commercials for mobile games, then it's going to stop working, because it's not that one standout commercial that everyone's going to be talking about. So it just reminds me of the PS1 era with Final Fantasy VII commercials. I knew a couple people that got fooled into thinking that the PS1 graphics were what they were seeing in that commercial. So Anyway,
I remember those. I remember those.
yeah,
Those
I mean, it looked amazing. A guy I know bought his PS1. He wasn't a gamer, but he got fooled by that commercial. And then he saw the opening cutscene. Then he saw the gameplay. He boxed it back up and he returned it the same day. He's like, "This, what the hell is this?" He actually tried to sell it to me first, and I was like, I didn't want a PlayStation. I was all Nintendo back then. But all right, so we got a few questions here. Not a whole lot, so I'm gonna ask a question and I'm gonna dedicate it to one person to answer. I'm gonna ask this to Bear Hugger since he likes. He's a Warriors fan. Tony Karan, have you heard that Enuma wants to bring the Hyrule Warriors boss battles into Zelda Wii U? First of all, I haven't heard that, so I don't know if it's true.
I heard about it.
That's the last DLC pack we're going to be getting.
Mhm.
That's going to be one of the extra modes. It's going to be like a boss battle like thing, kind of almost like a challenge mode. That's what I'm guessing because I'm familiar with that as far as like past games goes. But yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, if you're gonna give me all the bosses to fight and like if you have like a stage with all the bosses in one stage, that'll be challenging.
Well, yeah. Now that I'm thinking about this, Skyward Sword had a boss battle mode where you had to fight all the bosses. If you made it through all of them, you got the Hylian shield or whatever, or the mirror shield. I think it was. I forget which one it was.
Yeah, they did something like that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think it was already in a Zelda game, so it's not too much of a stretch.
I haven't played any of the DLCs because I don't have the game anymore. I have to get around it. I'm getting the digital version there soon, but when I do, I'm glad I took a break though because almost 200 hours in that game before any of the DLC came out. It was just freaking crazy, man.
That is crazy, dude. That is crazy. So Mario Walker, I think this is already confirmed. Star Fox will have. Do you think Star Fox will have the controls like the minecart levels in Captain Toad?
Yep.
I think he already confirmed that. The cockpit
That's
view.
gonna be the cockpit.
Yeah, there's actually one thing I want to talk about that. Actually, it's related to the same thing. During that Smosh thing, he was saying that the way they've also done the actual for the gamepad, like the cockpit view, during cinematic or cutscenes, you can actually look like different directions. Like if you're moving like Fox's head and whatnot during the actual cutscene, which to me I think is phenomenal because I've never seen that before where you can actually interact during a cutscene. You know what I mean? Unless it's like purposely done. You know what I mean? I think it's a great idea. Instead of just sitting there, it's like, okay, I can't skip this, but I really don't care about the storyline. At least you can move around, like look to the left and see what's like facing you to the left or to the right, or see Slippy just get destroyed. I can just laugh at him.
It's almost like that that 360 view, cinema view, where you can buy those pre-recorded trips and then move the camera.
Yeah, wasn't there a panorama view?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Oh yeah, that when he mentioned that, and I was like, dude, that's freaking awesome.
That is. That's actually pretty cool. So, Ms. T, this is a new user I've never seen. Capable Tie 7. Thanks for watching. That's the first time I've seen a question from him, so appreciate you joining us on the Juices Loose. Mr. T, what's the worst game you have ever played and why?
The worst game I ever played, it's easy. It's called The Crow, City of Angels for Sega Saturn.
You played that?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I bought it.
The movie was.
I went out and bought it. I bought it full price. I was a huge Crow fan. I loved the first movie.
Yeah.
You know, I was a lot younger then, so you didn't do all the research beforehand. And I just remember, but it's the only game that I bought and took back the same day.
Well, I mean, Iggy Pop was in that the second movie, and it was just terrible.
It was
worse than
the movie, easily. It was just broken. It was utter garbage. It was
so
terrible.
I guess if anyone else can think of theirs, I know mine. Mine's Outlaw Volleyball for the Xbox Uno. My half stepbrother, whatever, my brother's stepson. For Christmas he got me a game, and he just went to like GameStop through the used bin, and he got me this Outlaw Volleyball, and I gotta say, it's not even the volleyball part is so broken that any of the rest of the game just doesn't even matter. The characters are generic, but the volleyball doesn't even work. The mechanics don't even work, and I wish he would have just not got me a Christmas present, but that's definitely the worst game that I've ever played. It's so bad and broken. It should never have been released. It's terrible.
I played Outlaw Golf, and that game was awesome, but I never heard of volleyball. Outlaw Volleyball.
It might have been like 2. It might have been Outlaw Volleyball 2. I have it somewhere, but I don't know. Anyone else?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I could throw it away.
See, that goes in your shameless collection.
Let's see, I got a couple of them, but one of mine that I didn't like was Enter the Matrix because it was glitch filled as all the hell. And I don't.
No.
Some of it was, but I just because I had the PS2 version, and
I had the GameCube one.
that thing was glitched to all the hell. So that was one of my worst ones. I hated that. I hated that game. Oh, and Rain of Fire.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh God,
no,
that's a great movie. I love that movie.
No. Crucifix.
Good movie, horrible game.
All right, this is a good question for Jay since you're talking just now. What franchise do you want to get the Mario Maker treatment next? Capable Ty 7. He wants a 3D Mario Maker. Is there any other franchise you'd like to see get the Maker treatment?
Let's see. There's Star Fox. There's I don't know how you do a Zelda one, but don't know how you do a Metroid one either. But I'd say Metroid. Let's see. Star Fox, Metroid. I don't want to be Donkey Man. Donkey Kong gives me nightmares.
But it's there's so much with the barrels and stuff. There's so much.
Well, I will say that. You know what? You're right because that level they did in Smash Bros. The Jungle Hijinks, where they swap. I wouldn't mind doing that actually. So
and
yeah,
now
you are right.
and the new one had like the gelatin you could bounce off, and the certain ones would move platforms. I mean.
Yeah. So yeah, I can see Donkey Kong being one. But yeah, like I'll probably say like any of the platformers that they got. Yeah, Kirby as well. Yeah, I can see them doing them easier with the platforms, but I like to see what they could do with some of the adventure games like Zelda, design your own dungeon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Man, give me a Zelda Maker
like
with
a classic
Link to the
Zelda.
Past skin.
Yeah, the classic Zelda.
Zelda Maker.
Or the
with Link
up
to the
down
Past.
one, like Link Between Worlds type of deal too.
Like that.
Yeah,
like
that'd be
Link
pretty
Between
cool,
Worlds.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking about.
The only problem I have with the whole Maker idea is I want to play levels. I want to play other people's levels. I don't really want to make too many levels, so I'm gonna probably wait on Mario Maker for a while until people have had it.
Oh, me too.
Because I don't want to just buy it and have to make levels right away. I just want to play. So.
Yeah, same here. I'm not in the making.
Makes sense.
All right, Coupon, Mario Walker, even though the Wii U won't have the success the Wii had, do you think it will bring back some of the, he said guys, but people who left during the GameCube era? Do you think the chance the Wii U could bring those people back? Because I know...
Personally, I mean, if they left and they went to the other guys, they've been there for so long, kind of like what you said earlier, the whole... That whole what was it? The mind share. They're not coming back. No, they're not. I don't have that kind of faith in people, but I would hope some of them probably do. So I mean, I guess it mostly depends on the person itself. I mean, if they ever considered themselves a Nintendo fan, they would have stuck around. And I'm sorry, I just don't have faith in people. No, I don't.
Yeah, I think if they left during the awesome GameCube era.
Yeah,
they're not coming back for the awesome Wii U era. They don't appreciate good games if they.
Yeah, because it's pretty much a GameCube era with the Wii U, just HD.
But I have to call out strictly Nintendo because if you guys follow him, he skipped the GameCube era and he's now getting back in. He bought a ton of GameCube games lately.
And good for him.
But he missed it, and he really regrets it. So he just something about. I know Mr. T follows him because you guys have lots in common when it comes to game collection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really surprised by that. GameCube seems to be the the one system that most Nintendo fans really liked. So for him to missed out on that one, it surprised me a little bit. I can understand maybe the Wii, but the GameCube was that one, I think, that most Nintendo fans really like.
Yeah. And Capable Ty 7, I guess that's Grayson Young. He changed his name. He's always asking questions every week. So Grayson, I don't know about the new name, but I'll remember that for the future. So I don't know. Somebody want to answer this one? Who would you rather see Nintendo co-develop Star Fox for Wii U with? Like, what's
Platinum. Platinum.
I think
Platinum.
we're all on the same page.
Platinum.
Platinum.
After seeing that teaser, it says you just can't go. Yeah.
I know the only thing that I know the controls of Nintendo will be spot on with that. That's the only thing I didn't like on Bayonetta 2 was the R1 controls are a little bit
Oh yeah, they were definitely
oversensitive.
not.
It wasn't
But-
made for that's why. I mean,
Yeah, but actually, if you play it in the standard costume with the just like the F14 or whatever it is, it's a lot easier to hit stuff. Like
Right.
it has an auto target in Star Fox
Yeah.
R-Wing. It's a lot more challenging. So, the only other person, I wouldn't mind the guys that did Luigi's Mansion getting a shot. I don't. That's kind of out of their wheelhouse, but. Or maybe part of Retro because it's going to be a pretty quick development cycle.
Yeah.
Other
I just
than
think that
that,
Star Fox needs to be epic and kind of over the top.
that's
and
true.
Platinum Games is really good at that stuff. So
And as much as
And
us,
storyline.
I mean, if Platinum can't
already
do it,
said.
yeah.
Yeah.
maybe.
Kami been pushing for that, boy. Kami want that game bad.
But he's working on Scalebound, so I don't know if he'd
Oh,
have
boy.
time. So
Is he working on Scalebound?
yeah, he's the director.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, okay.
He is.
Alright.
It was just funny to hear him keep saying, hey, I like Star Fox. Hey,
Star
so
Fox.
I'll do a Star Fox if you let me. Hey, Iwata, give me Star Fox, damn it.
It's like, hey, you're not getting Star Fox. You're gonna just.
Man,
Yeah,
I
let
just.
Nintendo handle the controls and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But give them the set pieces and all that. That's
Yeah.
what they're really good at.
You know what? You know what I think Star Fox needs the most, and some purists might be mad at me. They need a redesign for the characters, like,
Yeah.
because you can't bring
No,
Slippy.
I'm sorry.
You can't bring Slippy into the HD era looking just like a cartoon Toad anymore. I think they could find a way, not Teenage
They
Mutant
can-
Ninja Turtles redesign, but they
Right.
could find
I
a
was gonna
way
say.
to make it
Yeah.
look better in HD, or otherwise stick
Make
to
him look like a freaking Battletoad. There you go.
or
Like,
just
no.
yeah, or they could just stick to like go with like a Pixar CG version of the character models. But I wouldn't mind seeing a little more grown up,
Yeah.
like character design and maybe change the voices.
Or if you've seen that cartoon from back in the day, Bucky O'Hare. I
Familiar.
always felt like Bucky O'Hare was the inspiration for Star Fox, because it's about these little, basically animals. I think the rabbit is the main one, Bucky O'Hare, and they're like a Star Wars kind of space fighter type of team. And,
I've seen
it
that.
was
I
really
can't
close
remember.
to Star Fox to me. You should check it out. Look it up.
What was it called?
It's Bucky O'Hare.
I'll look it up right now before I forget. You said that Platinum's good at, like crazy stories, and their cinematics are amazing. So in that regard, I don't know if they'll have enough time with this development cycle, but I do think that they would be awesome because their cinematics, and Nintendo fans are known for saying we don't care about story and cinematics, but Bayonetta 2s were so good.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I didn't want to skip them, even though I just wanted to get to the gameplay.
That's one of the things I loved in Star Fox was the cinematics and how
Yeah.
that it had that kind of movie-like scope.
yeah.
'Cause remember that level that was definitely inspired by Independence Day?
Mm-hmm.
That was so cool.
That
To,
was in
like
Star
that big
Fox
mothership,
64,
It was
yeah.
just like it just
That
felt
was
so
straight up
cool.
real.
But even the original Star
Yeah,
Fox,
totally.
the first time I fired up Star Fox, that music kicked in and the credits, and it had the R-wings flying out of the ship with like that felt to me like movie atmosphere. It was just so cinematic, and then just dodging like the 3D. I hope they focus on just like the things coming at you, even though back then it was like a gimmick to have like polygons flying at you. But I remember ducking so many damn times playing that game, and I hope they capture that. Yeah,
I
that
did
Bucky
too.
O'Hare. That Bucky
Yeah,
O'Hare, like that's the kind of style. If Star Fox could pull off that
Right.
like that Keep On just said, or who sent it, that looks awesome. Looks like they got a little Howard the Duck there too, with 4 arms. So yeah, I think Platinum would do great, but I also think like a Retro or somebody helping them out wouldn't hurt, wouldn't be bad either. And this one, we'll do 2 more questions. This one might be hard to answer off the top of your head, but what game modes and online features do you want to see in Splatoon? He wants tournaments since he's good at shooters, and like he is at Mario Kart. So, anyone here are big into online gaming, shooters? What kind of modes would you like to see?
Capture the hill, capture the flag, capture flag, deathmatch, team deathmatch. They
on
gotta
top
have
of
like,
what we already know about, which is like putting the most ink.
putting the most thing, because I mean, and then they gotta have probably something. They gotta have their own crazy ones, that
Yeah, they also
probably.
got to have a ranking system. They got to have a reason to keep playing, to level up or something, because that adds a lot to why people keep playing Call of Duty for 6 months later, is getting that prestige level and ranking up, unlocking, weapons and stuff. I think they got to do something like a tiered system like that.
Especially when you have team play, because it's gonna have team play in it.
Mm-hmm.
How it's set up, they're gonna have team play, and so you have to have like, if you have like your team set up in team tournaments and all that. That's what I'd like to see. It's probably gonna have voice chat a la how Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate was. At least I would hope they would have it like that.
They better have it.
Yeah.
So,
For this kind of game, it needs that kind of voice chat.
So I think they'll have it like that. So I mean, that's the kind of stuff I would be looking forward to, and then whatever craziness that they're gonna put into it, because the guys look like they're gonna add some crazy stuff that we ain't even used to, and it's probably gonna blow our minds.
Yeah, I think they're gonna really show us some creativity. And Mario Walker, he kind of mistyped. He meant people who skipped the Wii era, but like the GameCube, skipped the Wii. When he said when he was asking if the Wii U will bring those people back, so he meant people who skipped the Wii era.
Oh.
Not when it's called Wii U. I don't.
No.
No, those were the major like casual type mom and pops people.
Well,
So
people
they
who
don't
skipped
even
the
know
Wii, they can't, like, Nintendo had some really good games on there, and I'm sorry if you didn't buy one when it was like $150 with like Mario Kart, like you just really weren't a Nintendo fan, even if you didn't buy a Wii at that point. So I just don't see anyone who owned the GameCube, skipped the Wii, coming back to the Wii U. I mean, maybe there's a few select people that might fit that category, but
I think most of the people probably bought a Wii. I think most of the people who had a GameCube probably moved on to Wii.
because it could play GameCube games and you can plug the controllers in. So even if they wanted just to play Melee Melee, a lot of people did it just so they didn't have to keep their GameCube. They just, because the Wii had component cables were easy to find compared to the GameCube, and it was basically a GameCube and a Wii together. So I think a lot of people just went ahead and got the Wii if they had the GameCube. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's going to be it. There's a couple more questions, but we're going on way over the time. I didn't realize it got this late, so apologize to my guests here. I did not realize. I thought it was like 20 after. But so yeah, good discussion. I really enjoyed this, and thanks to the questions from everybody and everybody who's been watching this whole time. You guys want to go ahead and do your outros? If you got any final thoughts, we'll go in reverse order of how we came in. So, Ms. T, you go first.
Hey, fools. It's Mr. T, the Mr. T Show. Had a great time. Glad to be back on Juice is Loose. Be looking out for my video inspired by Coupon Strives, even. Gonna drop a little video basically talking about, my frustrations and trying to move along and do different things on my channel. So be looking out for that. And like I said, I'm going to do a video on Nintendo popularity as well. So look out for that sometime this week. And yeah, that's it.
What about your podcast? You said you were going to...
Oh, yeah, the podcast will be coming after that video, that the Nintendo popularity, because I wanted it to be a follow-up to that video. So, you get further and deeper discussion what I'm going to be talking about in that video. So.
All right. And if you need guests, just...
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I'll be hitting y'all up for sure.
All right, Coupon Strides here, your gaming diva. Yeah, I dropped a PSA not too long ago, just explaining how I'm going about things this year. So, the diva's unleashed, and that's how it's going to be. I'm going to try to speak the truth and just give people my opinions and, have some good adult conversations about video games and play our games and have fun. Check out my channel. Got gameplay coming soon. Got some new features going to be hitting that up soon. So, yeah, new things for a new year. And thanks for having me on your podcast yet again.
All right. Glad to have you back.
All right, everybody. It's Jay from the Game Cafe. Thanks for having me, Terminator. Had fun tonight. I will be having my discussions have been moved to Saturdays now, and I do have a discussion planned for Saturday. Gameplay videos will be up on Thursday or whenever I get a chance to, but mostly they'll be up on Thursday. I got like 2 now that I'm working on trying to finish, and that's pretty much how things are going to be going. Be on the lookout. I am starting back up J&T's Fresh Take, and I am doing a whole another YouTube channel for my geek movies and comics obsession, I guess I should say. So be on the lookout for that. It's probably going to get started up not this month, but probably next month. So be on the lookout for that. And once again, thanks for having me, Terminator.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you there, Terminator, for having me on here. I'm your big fat Canadian boy, Bear Hugger 29. Glad to be here again for the this is what now, like my 3rd time being on the loose Juices Loose.
You kind of.
I'm a little bit like I'm there, but I'm not there. That makes it like I'm like half out of it right now. I'm tired as hell. But anyways, yeah, thank you for having me. Friday is my next Smash event for both people at Gamers at Large and my subscribers. So you guys are more than welcome to attend that. It will require Skype, mind you, because hosting 2 Hangouts, no. Too much.
And I'm hoping my microphone. I was using my phone because I was upstairs because my Wii U's upstairs, my computer's downstairs. Hopefully my phone, everything works out on Skype.
It should pick up a lot better than Google Hangout because I know the Skype quality on, at least from cell phone wise, I've had a friend of mine use a cell phone application for Skype and it sounds way better than when I heard her on Hangout before. So you should be okay with that. Real quick though, to answer your question, Francis, no, I'm not playing Smash tonight. I'm kind of taking a break from that until Friday. So if you want to fight me on Friday, by all means, go ahead. I'll be there. It's not going to be drinking or any of that crap. I'm going to do that again. At least not for a while. I got more gameplay footage coming out. I'm probably do another episode of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate probably tomorrow or the next day. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, that's and look out for more content coming out future-wise. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks to JMZ for making their first appearance in probably 3 months. I think the last time we talked about the summer movies, or it was like August. So I'm glad to have you guys back. I'm gonna try to mix the guests up, if not every week, every couple weeks. You know, I have my 4 main people usually, and I'll try to keep 1 or 2 of them, and maybe bring some new people in, because it's always good to get other people's opinions and personalities, and I appreciate you guys for joining me on my 30th episode of The Juice is Loose, and I'm glad we came up with some topics last minute, but I thought it went pretty well, so thank you again for joining me, and everyone who's watched this live, really appreciate that. The questions were good, and if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to comment, and I already see someone commented about the commercials, and I wish I would have seen it sooner, but we're going to end this. It's been almost 2 hours now, so apologize for the long length, but we'll try to shorten it up next week. So with that, we're going to say goodnight, and we'll see you on the next video.
Peace!
Bye!